right, testing 1, 2, 3. I think we're going live here. Seems like the video's starting. Bit of a lag time as per normal, but we'll see if we can get some more tinfoil added to the emitters to make certain that everything works out properly. It is Friday night. It's just past about 9 o'clock as we're recording this. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek, and you're joining us again on a Friday night, keeping you updated with what's going on across the Tennessee River Valley. We are on our special updated live version of Weather Overtime. This is our online video weather blog designed to get you informed about what's going on across the area. So thanks for joining us. We're going to continue again to see some pretty chilly conditions into the weekend. So if you are just joining us and have any plans for outdoors, stick around. We'll take a look and see what's going on with the forecast out there. And we're going to be trying to expand a little bit more, doing a little bit more live stuff into around the rest of the weekend. So again, if you have the opportunity to join us this weekend for more through the basketball games on the tournament, please stop by and see what's going on. And of course, we'll have more information about what's happening out there again through the rest of the weekend at WDEF.com. Again, if you're just joining us, could be again a bit of a chilly evening out there for tonight. Frost advisories, frost warnings, freeze warnings in effect for a good portion of the area. We'll take a look at that coming up in the forecast as well, so stay tuned for more on that. Got questions? Drop them into the comments section. Hopefully we're not going to be seeing too much of a lag time here. It looks like keyframe rate's a little bit on the low side, so we may have to change that a little bit, but it looks like we're still getting through so far, so good news on that. For tonight, again, chilly. Let's take a look and see what's going on. For the evening, we've gotten rid of the rainfall for the most part. It's over portions of the Carolinas, heading away from us into and around the area of areas that close to the western Carolinas and northeastern Georgia. So not seeing a lot of major problems with rain. However, if you are going to be traveling, you are going to be running into some of that as you head a little bit farther over eastwards for tonight. That's northeast of Atlanta back into around the Carolinas. So most of that has made its way out of the picture. We're looking again at the heaviest amount of rain showers over the Carolinas, down the East Coast, and heading all the way down to about Florida for tonight. So we do have, again, a little bit of showers out there. We did have some thunderstorms last night, but we didn't have a great deal of them out there, so definitely some good news where that's concerned. But for right now, we're seeing, again, the potential of less in the way of rainfall for the rest of the evening, and again, less in the way of rainfall for any time soon as we see a very dry forecast coming up. For tonight, and again, across a good portion of the southeastern United States, we've got a ton of advisories in effect in the dark blue, purplish, showing up kind of weirdly purple on this monitor. Apologies for the color problems there. But again, we've got a lot of frost warnings, frost advisories in the light blue, freeze warnings, the more intense potential of maybe, again, some very widespread frost. And this is about the third or fourth freeze warning we've had throughout the rest of the week because of all that cold air. This is the growing season, so the National Weather Service issues these to make certain that anybody who's got plants outside and the ability to cover them up, protect them, anything like that, they're able to do so on there. So that's what we're going to be seeing for later on tonight. That also includes, again, all of the News 12 viewing area. So a freeze warning in effect. Southeastern Monroe County on the far eastern side of the News 12 viewing area, not included in this, just like the rest of the Appalachian spine all the way up into around West Virginia and the Virginias. Not seeing a lot of problems here with less growing problem capabilities, but the rest of the area, including the area around the Cumberland Plateau, that is where we're going to be seeing the potential for some very chilly numbers out there and some of that frost potential again for the rest of the evening. So we will see again the potential for more of that coming up later on this weekend. We'll show you the 7-day forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Let's get to the maps if I can find out what I did with them here. We've got two cold fronts on the way, one of which has already passed through the area. That's this one here that brought the rain showers and is now moving away back toward the east-northeast, and will continue that direction throughout the rest of the evening into tonight. And again, toward the East Coast, that's where we're going to be seeing the problems out there. So again, if you are going to be planning on traveling anywhere between, say, Miami and New York, that's where we're seeing the potential of some problems with travel out there. So again, much of what we're looking at for right now is not really that much of a problem, but it's coming in behind all that. So we will see some colder conditions dropping into the area for, again, the rest of the evening, and that's going to be a bit of a problem out for the growers, anybody with plants outdoors, things like that. So for tonight, what we're going to be expecting is this front, the second front of the two here, this part of the double whammy heading down from the north and the east. That's going to give us the potential of that very cold air. Now notice on either side of this front, there's nothing really going on, so we don't really have a lot of anything happening at this time, so decently quiet where that's concerned, but it's going to take the temperatures downwards into about the next couple of days. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and run through the numbers on that. So for later on tonight and into very early tomorrow morning, at about dawn patrol, just before that, there's our freezing temperatures once again, as we see numbers very much on the cold side, and that goes right back over into Alabama and parts of northern Georgia for later on this evening and into overnight as well. So get prepared for some of that. Going into tomorrow afternoon, fast forward a few hours, lunchtime temperatures on Saturday, lower 40s across much of the region thanks to that cold air, and that cold air is continuing to flow on down this direction. So overnight we get a reinforcing shot of that colder air, so that by very early Sunday morning, that's where we see numbers dropping into the mid to upper 20s and even some teens possible on the higher peaks back into North Carolina and parts of extreme eastern Tennessee. Not looking at anything in a wind advisory right now, but could be kind of chilly, some wind chills down in the teens as we go towards Sunday early morning, somewhere in there. So that's where we could see, again, some problems out there. Jeff Peterson, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us here on Weather Overtime Live. Glad to have you along, and thanks to everybody else who stopped by to check in and see what's going on. Rest of the weekend, again, through about Sunday afternoon, that's when the full force of the cold air really heads on over. So for this computer model here, it is showing a lot colder temperatures. Again, estimating this computer model a little bit more conservative, showing again the potential of some chillier numbers back in the mid to upper 30s, maybe broaching 40 degrees. Some of the more optimistic computer models for warmth purposes are showing us in the lower 40s, and that's it. We're not going to be seeing much of anything else coming our direction anytime soon. Bishop Midget, thank you very much for joining us. Jeff Peterson, our last cold blast. Good question, and very possibly at this time, according to what we're seeing in the medium range models. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit with our 7-day forecast. So again, we could be seeing the potential of some maybe colder weather. It happens at this time of the year where you can have a good warm up, and then frost can happen well into April, but we'll hopefully won't see too much of that coming on through. Fast forwarding through about Monday morning, getting the kids off to the bus stop, it is going to be a frigid start to the work week and or spring break week if you've got next week off, and seeing temperatures back in the mid to upper 20s. Not much of anything in the way of cloud cover. That clears out, and it's going to be several more days before we pick up anything in the way of more chances of rainfall coming on through. That's going to be middle to end part of next week, not to give away too much, but that's the best chance of rainfall we're going to be seeing anytime soon coming our direction. Now, again, for long-range forecast purposes, we're just not seeing too much. We have that bit of a cool down coming through the weekend as that colder air spills its way. Hang on a second, let me back up properly. A little bit into the area on Sunday. That's where that cold air makes its way on through. But toward the middle to end of next week, that reverses itself, and we start to see some very mild temperatures coming on through, especially as we get into Thursday. Temperatures pushing 80 degrees as we go toward about the mid to end part of the week. So we will get some chilly numbers for the next day or so, at least until the beginning of spring. And then we start to get into what looks to be a bit of a shift in the patterns coming on through, with numbers again back into possibly close to about 80 degrees out there for the most part. So again, through tomorrow, as we go into the rest of Saturday, dry conditions. It may be a little breezy with winds northwest at about maybe 5 to 15, gusting to about 25 miles per hour. But we also see, again, temperatures maybe just barely making their way. This is for Saturday, not Sunday. Saturday, we see temperatures back in the lower 50s. And that's going to be about it. And then Sunday is going to be even colder than that as we go into what's left of the last weekend of winter. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and roll the numbers on that so you can see a little bit more about what's going on. Through, again, tomorrow, temperatures back into around the lower 50s and then the 40s as we head toward about Sunday. Spring arrives 5:24 p.m. Eastern Time for the vernal equinox, equal day, equal night, roughly, and that's where we see again some nicer weather, a little bit nicer. Temperatures back in the mid 50s. Normal for this time of the year, right about Tuesday into Wednesday, so we do get a little bit milder conditions there for a little bit, and then we see that nice warm up coming through. So we start off in the 40s for Sunday. We'll be close to 80 degrees by about Sunday, so we will be getting into a nice warming condition trend there, but we start to see the potential of even more showers coming our way by week's end. Doesn't look like a lot for now, and it really isn't. Maybe I threw in some thunderstorms there because a couple of the models are saying the potential might be there for some of that, but that's really going to be about it again for right now. Bishop Bob, that is a good question. Why does the cold weather and the rain or liquid precipitation seem not to hit this area at the same time? If you've never tried winter weather forecasting, I urge it as a challenge and both as a very good ego balloon busting process, because a lot can go wrong with winter weather forecasting because there's just so many variables out there to where you have a forecast for snow, for example, and you have the cold air in place, you have the moisture coming in, but then you have a warm layer several hundred, several thousand feet up, which then changes that into rain. So it gets warm enough down to the surface that you have rain, freezing rain, sleet, depending on what happens, or you can have the moisture take a different track and head off one direction. So you get the cold air coming through and the moisture just misses you completely. So that will be, again, what you can see from time to time. So again, that it's sometimes it's slated to arrive at the same time in the atmosphere. A lot can change, and even a short period of time, to where here we may not see any winter weather, but we may see the potential of maybe some problems with winter weather within a very short time period. Excuse me. Pardon me, allergies are playing havoc with my nasal cavities tonight. Pardon me for that. So again, this is something to really take a look at when it comes to the various types of forecasting out there. This is, again, what winter weather forecasting is all about, and why we don't have a tendency to forecast that far in advance what may be happening, because of the fact that, again, the liquid precip or the cold air will be moving at different speeds. Those different air masses can do very weird things from time to time, and many a forecast I know have been wrecked or busted because of that. So again, a very good question, and that is something to really keep in mind when it comes to the science of forecasting. You think predicting your NCAA bracket is hard? Try winter weather forecasting sometime. I double dog dare you on that. It's really important to be able to see that at some point. For the Almanac page, checking that out real quick, and if that would load, that would be nice. Thank you very much. 4/10 of an inch of rainfall today. About as typical for this time of the year as you could possibly get, back into the mid 60s for highs, lower 40s for lows. A little breezy too. Winds out of the northwest at about 32 miles per hour, so a little breezy out there. Heading out to catch a fish, not bad according to the website we use here. Good conditions, but it is going to be windy, and we will see again some pretty chilly conditions through the weekend. So if you have any plans for outside, that in and of itself could be a bit of a problem out there. And again, that's something we'll be watching out throughout the course of the weekend. So more updates at WDEF.com/weather. Now, when nothing is going on, is the perfect time to get ready for severe weather, not right before the storm arrives. So if you'd like to know more about how to program your weather radio, check our website, WDEF.com/weather, and we can help you understand more about that. If you're a teacher, an administrator at a school who would like to have us come visit your classroom to talk about meteorology, science, weather safety, emergency communications, we cover a lot of things like that. All you have to do is go to WDEF.com/weather and fill out the forms to find out more about what to do in that particular type of location. Now, we have a bit of a different program out there very quickly again. For the longer format is for the higher grades, where we talk a little bit more about math, science, forecasting, how to protect yourself against severe weather, things like that. But if you would like to know a little bit more about what we do for the younger kids, which we do sometime, apologies for the camera having issues there, that is for, again, where we see going into around maybe a shorter program, and that's where we may read a book to a kid, but we won't do anything in the way of like a lot of math or anything like that, because that again can be a little bit more tedious. So more about our Weather in the Classroom program, sponsored by Food City. Check it out again at wdef.com, and of course you can find me on all of these social media channels if you'd like to reach out and see what's going on there to follow along. Brian Chuck, welcome to the show. Thanks for stopping on by. Again, through the rest of the weekend, we'll have more updates on the forecast at wdef.com/weather. The NCAA tournament is going to cause the schedules to be a little wonky, so you can always catch up with the forecast here. And, of course, throughout the rest of the weekend, newscast updates and sports. Our own Brian Armstrong is live in Florida following the Vols after their first-round win, so we'll be bringing him more from there coming up later on tonight and through the weekend as the Vols hopefully continue to advance through the tournament, and we'll see how well that goes out there. And, of course, you can find me again on more of these social media pages. I'm on lichess.org and chess.com if you want to find me there. My handle is my amateur radio license if you want to find me at those locations to find out what's going on. And again, to follow us on more than just Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram out there. But if you got weather pictures, I should have mentioned this before. Let me throw this in real quick before we get too far out there. If you've got weather pictures for our West Shore Home Weather Window Picture of the Day, drop them to us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And again, you can email them directly to us at pictures@wdef.com for more. If you'd like to bring more on there, and your picture could be the next West Shore Home Weather Window Picture of the Day. Today's picture, thanking, let's see if we can get this loaded up here real quick. Thanking Cindy Kennan for a beautiful pastel colored view from Ottawa, Tennessee, from early Thursday morning. That's our West Shore Home Weather Window Picture of the Day for Friday, and a very nice one there as well. Some beautiful shots, some amazing weather photography around here in the course of the last few weeks and months. I'll have more coming up on the late edition of News 12 at 11, whenever that airs, thanks to the tournament. And of course, that'll be with Andrew Harrison and Rick Nyman, our sports, to give you ideas of what's happening over the area for tonight. And of course, we'll have more again through the weekend, so stay tuned for more at wdef.com/weather. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee at the News 12 studios, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. Thanks for joining us for this live edition of our video weather blog, Weather Overtime. Thanks for stopping by to say hi, ask a few questions, and keep an eye on things. And we'll have more for you again on air and online throughout the next several days. So keep it tuned to News 12, and we'll keep you informed.